Hi, I'm John Sage with Sage Traveling and Accessible Caribbean Vacations. I'm here in icy Strait Point, Alaska. It's not one of the major cruise port hubs, though the biggest ones are Skagway, Juneau, and Ketchikan. But icy Strait Point is growing, and so it will be appearing on more itineraries in the future. To tell you a little bit about accessibility and wheelchair access and accessibility for anybody with any type of mobility need, here in icy Strait Point, here's a little bit of the rundown. So I'm here on the floating dock, which fits one cruise ship right now. Maybe they'll expand in the future. There are some accessibility challenges here. So first, let me spin around and show you the long walkway to get to shore and explain what this is. So here is the walkway to get to shore. Now in Alaska, you have very, very high and low tides. So this slope right here, it doesn't look too bad right now, but this morning it was really steep. Now what they've done to try to help that is they have a courtesy shuttle. And the courtesy shuttle leaves from this little platform right behind me. And you can see it even has a wheelchair platform here. And the shuttle, unfortunately, it doesn't actually have a wheelchair ramp on it. But it is for people with mobility needs, people with bad hips, bad knees, that need to take it and don't want to walk up that steep ramp and all the way to where the excursions depart. Now, this morning, I watched the mobility, they call it a care shuttle or something like that. I watched it drive right by me without saying a word. And it was kind of like, if anybody needs a little bit of assistance getting up that very, very steep ramp, it is me. And they just drove right by and didn't even say, we'll be back in 5 minutes or anything like that. That's sort of what happens when you have people sort of check the box for accessibility, and they might not train their people exactly right. And so anyway, so I needed to work out after eating all the food on the cruise ship, so I pushed up that very steep ramp, had to take a break about halfway, but did get up it on my own power. That's not something I would recommend because you can predict the tides, but are you really going to take the time to figure out the tides before you get here? Probably not. Once you get here, there are some accessible options. There are some boats that have accessibility to go whale watching. We are working on developing and partnering with somebody local to do bear watching that's accessible. The zip rider, the big long line they have here, the challenge is that it only takes a minute and a half to get down, and so if you brought your wheelchair up there, your wheelchair is going to arrive about 40 minutes after you to the bottom. So that's a challenge. So there's some limitations here. Not as many options. Like I said, this is sort of a relatively new cruise port, but we are going to work with some local partners, see what we can develop for accessible shore excursions, and those you can find on sagetraveling.com to book in the future.